Anne.
Yes. So the demonstrator that I'm talking about today is one that we actually developed quite early on in the project. It's called Simple Site. But instead of talking about sort of how to work with Simple Site or sort of the technical underpinnings of it, I thought I'd talk today instead about how we've been using it in the project. So it is all available. The documentation is on GitHub as well as on Zenodo. And Joe himself has presented a bit about how you work with Simple Site during the first webinar. This one was held in March, and there's the Zenodo DOI to all of the sort of wrapped up videos, transcriptions, presentations, etc. at the bottom there. So we're using this predominantly in 4 ways. In the first place, we want to introduce the project and the people involved, provide asynchronous access to our project outputs, engage with the wider audience, and present case studies. So looking at that in sort of just a quick rundown, if we're thinking about introducing the project, we have our kind of front page, as well as a whole list of the team. Unfortunately, I couldn't get all of us in then. There's about 10 project partners and about 14 researchers who have worked with us over the past year or so. If we move on to providing asynchronous outputs, these are the webinars that Joe was talking about earlier in his introduction. As he said, we've had 4 of them. And if you go to our website, you can see them all up at the top with links to the transcripts, links to the presentation packs, as well as the facility for the videos as they're presented on YouTube as part of the production initiative. We further sought to use our website to engage with the wider audience, beyond those people who might attend our webinars or might know of the project in other ways. And predominantly we did this through Twitter. And our first attempt at gaining some following was a series called Details of the Week, where we took the deep zoom functionality of IIIF and showed little tiny details from various different IIIF computer objects across the national collection. In this case, it's Cézanne's little sketch. And for each of these, we would show the details on Twitter and then send people to our website in order to sort of help them get a better idea of what the project was about, as well as to the objects from our project partners, and something to others as well. And finally, we wanted to show the ways in which IIIF can help kind of illustrate research and present research. We did this through a series called Connected Collections. We did it in celebration of hitting 500 followers on Twitter, which we thought was quite the milestone. And these tended to be some of our more popular outputs according to the analytics. Each one is a basically built up research blog post, for lack of a better term, about one object that was nominated by one of our project partners to sort of represent their collections. And then we built that out a little more. So for one, you can see the V&A. This is a little kind of mosaic called Pietra Dura. It's based on a drawing by Pisanelli's. We're able to actually have the mosaic as well as the drawing here. And then a video about the technique and how this is done and presents it all together. The other one is from another project partner, the Royal Botanic Garden, Edinburgh. But in this case, we link it with some of the French National Library materials showing the journey of this priest as he went through China and collected these botanical samples, as well as a sort of miniature photograph of him. So I was meant to keep this quite short in 5 minutes today, but I thought we also should think about the ways in which this can take on a life of its own beyond the project. And in that case, well, first we can say it did have a fairly good reach. As you can see, we spread fairly across the globe with a fair number of users in each, with the United Kingdom being our most popular. But back to going beyond the tank project and beyond the national collection, this is an example of Simple Site that also takes advantage of some other IIIF tools in order to tell a story. I made it for a group up at the University of Manchester. We're going to try a live demo and see if that works for us today. So the inbuilt storytelling viewer here is exhibit.so. It's developed by the University of St. Andrews to present IIIF compliant resources and to be able to tell a story with them. So in this case, you can click through and I'll provide a bit of a presentation, zooming in on what you need. In this case, the city of Manchester. But the nice thing is because this is all IIIF compliant, sorry, it's underneath the bar. Here's the exhibit.so site. And say I don't want to see it as slides, I'd prefer to see it as a scroll. I can just change the view here. Say I'd like to update it. Confirm that I am not a robot and that I've read the terms and services. Update my presentation. And if I go back to my website here, refreshing the page, and all of a sudden you're seeing your resources in an entirely different way. Same resources, same text, but because all of this can interact with one another, it's the simple site platform, but with Exhibit being embedded within it, you can really start to explore different resources, use it for teaching, use it for student presentations, and ask them to engage directly with some primary source material. I believe that that's the end of my time today. I just have a short 5 minutes, so I'll hand it back to Joe to talk about some other stuff that we're doing with IIIF as part of the project.